The fallout from the Epstein files, it continues. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein say they are outraged. And outrage is the word they're using by the Justice Department's handling of these documents. 20 survivors and family members signed a statement saying that despite the release of more than 3 million documents, quote, the public still does not have the full truth about who enabled him, who participated in this exploitation, and who has been shielded for years. And they say they've had enough. The DOJ says it finished reviewing all 6 million plus files related to Jeffrey Epstein, but has only released half of them, and that's despite Congress's December 19th deadline for all files to be made public. Virginia Giuffre was one of Epstein's most vocal accusers, saying he began abusing her when she was 16 years old. Giuffre, as we know, unfortunately died by suicide back in April of 2025. We are joined by her brother, Sky Roberts, and sister-in-law, Amanda Roberts. Good morning, you two. I'm sorry we have to keep meeting under these circumstances, but I know it's very important for you to keep this story very much alive, and you are doing that. You both are using the word outrage to describe your feelings. Sky, would you start us off? What is most upsetting to you at this time?
Yeah, I would say that the unredaction of the victims' names, I think that it's incredibly insensitive and re-traumatizing for many of these survivors, especially a lot of the ones that have come forward, into the limelight. Because, you got to think, they're sharing these these are intimate details in these documents that their family members are going to see, their kids are going to see, and to unredact their names is incredibly insensitive and re-traumatizing. Then you have the Jane Does. You have the Jane Does who haven't come forward. They didn't actively want their names being released, and they're actively being released by our DOJ, and that creates a huge safety risk for survivors out there. And the last thing is that it's illegal. What they're doing is straight and flat out illegal. They're redacting the names of perpetrators, and they're unredacting the names of victims. Quite the opposite of what the Epstein Files Transparency Act was meant to do. Yeah,
you both believe that they are still protecting some of the men who were involved in this, Amanda.
Mm-hmm. 100%. I think it's selective, too. So if you go through a lot of these documents, there are points where their names are redacted, but then there are some files that have potentially slipped through. And so, when Todd Blanche mentioned that there were no names, that we weren't going to find troves or no reason for us to investigation, that is just simply not true. I am looking at a file right here on my phone that everyone can access with a list of names and the allegations against them that have been given by victims. So that is just completely false.
Well, the Justice Department says they've reviewed the millions of the documents. They have found no grounds for any new prosecutions. Your reaction?
I would say my reaction to that is that you have victims, you have survivors, my sister included, that have given depositions after depositions. They've given their own testimony under oath to our own Congress, and so we would ask the same of the men that were potentially named in these, right? I can tell you wholeheartedly, I know my sister named quite a few, those being the likes of like a Glenn Dubin, a Les Wexner, George Mitchell, and Tom Pritzker. Those are names we can start with, and all we're asking is that you come forward and provide the information of how you were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And that goes not just for a list of those names, but anybody that's implicated in there, including our own president.
No, we should say, Sky, since you've mentioned the names on this air, that all of those men that you've named have denied any wrongdoing, all of them. Guys, they've denied any wrongdoing, and the survivors and their families. So since they've denied wrongdoing, what does justice look like to you at this point? They've denied it. It now really is a story of he said, she said, and some of the people are no longer here to defend themselves.
I think the point of that is they were never asked, right? Survivors came forward, provided this information. Ghislaine Maxwell has been convicted of sex trafficking minors. She is sitting in a prison cell for that. We're talking about a case with over 1,000 victims. Who else did Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell traffic to? And if you are not implicated, you've had relationships with this man, one of the largest predators of all time modern day history. If you've had that relationship, then what did you know? What did you see? And that is the point of this. If I have that type of relationship with someone as an average person, I would be investigated. I would be subpoenaed. I would have to sit down and answer for things that I've known, what type of relationship I had with him. So that's the point. We're asking for the basic concept of law here.
Yeah, Amanda, you make a very good point. Attorney General Pam Bondi is going to appear before the House Judiciary Committee next week. What do you want to hear from her? I understand you're planning to be there. What do you want to hear from her?
Yeah. So we'll certainly be there for the hearing for Pam Bondi. I think a huge part there, and I think the first question to ask Pam Bondi is, why shouldn't we? Why should you not be held in contempt? There's one very big piece of the Department of Justice that's missing here, and it's that key word, justice. Right now, we are more interested in protecting the perpetrators than actually protecting the victims. And I think it's about time that we subpoena and we start fully investigating this. I mean, think about this for just a second. I mean, what were these relations with Jeffrey? What did Jeffrey Epstein even do? Right? What were the ties? Why aren't we following the money trail? Why aren't we asking more in-depth questions to some of these most rich and powerful? I mean, if your names are being brought up more than 30,000 times in a document, you should probably be investigated. And there's probably some documentation in there that supports. So I think we just are wanting more questions or answers to be, we want more answers from her and from many members of the Department of Justice.
All right, Sky Roberts and Amanda Roberts, we thank you for so long. Sky, as you know, your sister was a lone voice, and now you all are carrying her voice for her. We thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Gayle.
Thank you.